Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today I'm making a video about my daily routine as a student of the Islamic University of Medina that helps me to maximize the benefit from my time here. And the reason why I'm making this video is very simple, because every now and then when new students arrive and they watch my documentary about the Islamic University, they ask me the same question. What is the best way to go about the study so that we get the most benefit from it? And this video is my answer. As you can see, there is a board that helps me with my daily routine, and let's get into that. As you can see, it has so many numbers. What are these numbers? These numbers are the minutes that I allocate for certain type of activity. And minutes are time. And again, everything gets back to the importance of time. The Prophet ﷺ said, نِعْمَتَانِ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ. Two blessings that many people waste. الصِّحَّةُ وَالْفَرَاغُ. The health and the free time. Hasan al-Basri radiyallahu anhu, rahimahullah, was saying a beautiful saying. He was saying, يَا ابْنَ آدَمَ إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ أَيَّامٌ فَإِذَا ذَهَبَ يَوْمٌ ذَهَبَ بَعْدُكَ. O son of Adam, indeed you are nothing but a collection of days. When a day passes, part of you is gone. And Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah was saying a beautiful statement. He was saying, الدنيا مزرعة الآخرة. This dunya, this whole dunya, is the farm for the hereafter. فيها التجارة يظهر ربحها في الآخرة. There is a trade that occurs in this dunya, but you get the benefit or the profit of it in the akhirah. So everything gets back to the benefit, to the importance of the time. And my routine has 6 sections. The first one is the date. As you can see, I keep it on a daily basis. The 3rd of September, the 4th of September, etc. The next one is Quran, first and foremost, Quran. Islamic studies. The beneficial knowledge of dunya. Perhaps you're surprised, but we'll get to that. The next one is the physical training, and the last one is the work. And there's a certain amount of time that I allocate on a daily basis for a certain type of activity. For example, currently, my setting is that I allocate 150 minutes or 2.5 hours for the Quran studies every day, almost 4 hours for the Islamic studies, 40 minutes for the beneficial knowledge of the dunya, and 60 minutes for the work. And sometimes it changes due to the circumstances. Okay, let's start with the first one. It's the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. The best of you are the ones who study the Quran and were teaching the others the Quran. This is the Quran, and what I do about it is that, let's say I was memorizing the Quran after Fajr for some time, 62 minutes. I write it down. Then before Dhuhr I was memorizing for 49 minutes. I write it down. And then by the end of the day, I sum it all up. So for example, on the 3rd of September, I was memorizing the Quran during the day for 224 minutes. But my norm was 180 minutes, 3 hours. So I subtract 180 from 224, and then I have the balance. My balance was plus 44 minutes for the Quran. And this is how I keep track on a daily basis how much I was memorizing. So on the next day, I fell short, and my balance went down to 13. And on a daily basis, I can see how much time or how long I was memorizing Quran, and then I have the balance. And this way I hold myself accountable that I'm falling short and I'm trying to go ahead. So currently my balance is plus 88 minutes. And of course this is important. This is first and foremost the Quran, memorization of Quran, study of Quran. When you join the Islamic University, it's quite surprising. You see so many people, they memorize the Quran before they turn 12, before they turn 14, and then you become conscious that, oh, I'm lagging behind. So whether you're a student of the Islamic University, whether you're not a student of the Islamic University, it's still important for you to put Quran in the first place and allocate enough time. And what you want to do about it, you don't want to go into memorization of the Quran immediately. You want to go into tajweed first. I remember my time when I arrived in Medina. It was COVID, and I found a teacher from Egypt, and alhamdulillah, he was working with me for 2 months. We didn't even get past Juz Am because we were fixing all the mistakes that I had in tajweed. That's why Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, he wouldn't beat his kids for memorizing less of the Quran. But he would do that if they weren't following the ahkam of tajweed. This is the importance of tajweed. And after tajweed, you improve your tajweed, then you can go into the memorization of Quran and tafsir. So this is the first thing. whether you're a student or not a student. Actually, the whole board can be applicable to those who don't study at the Islamic University. But this one is usually for like people who study at the Islamic University or any other university of Saudi Arabia. The next one is Islamic studies. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fi din." The one that Allah wanted goodness for him, He makes him understand this religion or gives him the beneficial knowledge. So of course, whether you're a student or not, you should have priority number 2 as to seek the Islamic knowledge. It might be Aqeedah, it might be Tawheed, first of all Tawheed and Aqeedah, and also the matters of fiqh and all other matters. If you don't speak the Arabic language, then of course you should learn the Arabic language and place it into this section. And again, you kind of become very conscious when you go to the Islamic University. There are people who were studying the Islam, and then they join the Islamic University, and they are up front there, and you're lagging behind. And this is why I'm allocated almost 4 hours for this type of activity. Okay, the third one, and probably is going to be a little bit surprising for you, the beneficial knowledge of dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَلَا تَنْسَى نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا في سورة القصص. Don't forget your portion of the dunya. And Umar ibn Khattab, he was saying, I'm showing that the importance of the dunya is also there. The Umar ibn Khattab, he was saying to the youth, إِنِّي لَا أَكْرَهُ أَنْ أَرَاكَ أَحَدًا مِنْكُمْ سَبَهْلَلًا فِي أُمُورِ الدُّنْيا وَالْآخِرَةِ بهذا المعنى. Then Umar ibn Khattab was saying that, indeed, I dislike seeing one of you being indifferent or idle in the work of this dunya and akhirah. So, of course, if you're a student in Islamic University, it's important to put the Quran and Islamic studies in the first place, but you should also take care of the beneficial knowledge of the dunya. I'll give you an example just to make it clear. So when I graduated from the university in my country, way before I joined the Islamic University, I wanted the place of an engineer and I wanted a good salary. And I got it. I found a company that provided that for me, but I sold myself into slavery. 13 days in a row, we would have to work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And of course, I didn't like that lifestyle. So what I started doing for the first year, and I was working in Russia, in Siberia, it was very cold, I was seeking this beneficial knowledge in the field of automation systems. So I was working, and at the same time, I was taking all the courses that I could get my hands on. I also found an engineer from Uzbekistan. I was paying him $100 a month, and in their currency, it was $1 million something. And he was teaching me the automation systems. So basically, I was allocating time into seeking this beneficial knowledge of dunya. And one year later, I found a company that provided me the same payment, the same benefits, but the schedule was much better. From 9 to 5, 5 days a week. Okay, I was like, wow, that's working. So I started doing what I started doing. I added more to that. I started studying more into my field of engineering, and I added the personal individual lessons of the English, because English is not my native language. I learned it from the scratch when I was 19. The personal tutor for the Arabic language, the personal MMA trainer. So I started allocating more time into this section. And you know what happened on the third year? One team of engineers, it took me. They had some side jobs and they had a company, and the money started flooding in. That was a beautiful year, the golden year in terms of finances. And on the fourth year, I was accepted at the Islamic University of Madinah. So my point is that there's so many things that you might learn and use it to get ahead in the matters of dunya. Whether you're doing, let's say you're not a student, if you're doing engineering, you can learn so much to go ahead of others. You're doing accounting, or you're doing some business. There's so many things that you can use your time to excel in. This is where you need this section. Even if you're a student of the Islamic University of Medina, you might think like, oh, I'm a student, I should just learn the Islamic studies. Perhaps it's not bad, it's actually a good mindset, but you're going to graduate in the future, and if you use this time to build certain skills, it's going to be much easier for you when you graduate to find a source of income perhaps. And it's not even about the source of income. There are so many things, so many fields where you can educate yourself. I'll give you an example. The marriage life, for example. People say, and that's a very good saying, that in the marriage you can find the best, terrific experience you won't get anywhere else. But at the same time, you can find the most terrible and bad experience that you won't be able to get anywhere else. So you can use also this time to educate yourself on the matters of the marriage, how men and women are different, and you can utilize it to your benefit. I'll give you an example, and I hope my wife doesn't see this video because I keep it a secret from her. I read a book that's called 100 things that don't require that much effort, but make your wife very happy. So I wrote that book, saw how men and women view certain things differently, and I just utilize it to the advantage. So again, there's so many fields where you can educate yourself, whether you are not a student or you are a student, and you should use it to your advantage, whether it's business, the field of your career, marriage life, psychology, and other things. And the fourth one, the next one, is the physical training. The physical training, let me just give you another story, and you're probably going to think that I'm nuts after hearing this story, but just hear me out. So years ago, one guy just insulted me, and I decided to stand up for myself, and a fight broke out, and he beat off a piece of my ear in the middle of the night, of the fight, and spat it out in front of me. And you know what? Today, I thank Allah for that incident. Moreover, I make dua for that guy. I say, Allah, indeed he did a favor for me, so lead him to the right path. If I were to meet him, I would even probably give him a gift. You're probably going to think like, are you crazy? How is it even possible? But the thing is that, yes, it was painful. So much blood came out. I got 3 injections. I had stitches. They asked me, where's your ear? I said, it's gone. I mean, part of the earlobe. And they just stitched it like that. Yes, it wasn't pleasant, but what was pleasant is the lesson I got from it, that it's not just enough to be brave enough to get into a fight, but it's also important to get the skills that will help you to get out of the fight with your ear intact, let's say. That was a very valuable lesson that I took from that incident. And whether you're a student, whether you're not a student, doesn't matter. As a man, you should also take care of this part of your life. Even there's a hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-mu'min al-qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if wa khayrun wa fi kullin khayrun." The mu'min that is strong is better and more beloved to Allah than the mu'min that is weak, even though there is khayr, goodness in both of them. And Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, he was mentioning in the sharh of this hadith that it includes both al-quwwatul imaniyya, the strength of your iman, wal-quwwatul badaniyya, the strength of your body. So let's say if you're a student, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you this opportunity to study Islamic University of Madinah, the Islamic University of Madinah has a beautiful gym, has 2 pools, all these facilities, you should utilize it. And if you're not a student, of course you should do it anyways. There's so many ways to go about it. For example, what I do, I work out 4 days in a row. I have 2 heavy workouts when I actually do pull-ups, push-ups, and build the mass and the strength. And then I have 2 days of cardio. So 1 heavy training, 1 cardio, 1 heavy training, 1 cardio, and then I have 1 day off. And this is what oh, by the way, I forgot the part of the story that after the guy bit off a piece of my ear, later on I started joining all these practices. I had a personal trainer in MMA. I was doing grappling, and I did my share of it, and that was a good valuable lesson for me that played a big role in my life. Allahumma barik. So yeah, this should be a big part of your, not big part of, but at least an integral part of your life, physical training, especially as a man. As a man, you have 3 main roles in the family. The first role is to be a breadwinner, the second one is to be a leader of the family, and the third one is to be the protector of your family. How are you going to be a protector of your family if you are weak? This is why al-mu'min al-qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if. Okay, and the last one, the work. I'll give you another story. So let's make it an evening of the stories. One student, I won't tell where he's from, his name, it's not important. He told us a story. One day, one of the brothers approached him, and he gave him a certain amount of money. He said, "This is the help from me. You're a student. Please take it." So the brother, help from the brother. He took it. He's married, has a family to feed, etc. Some days later, you know what happened? Crazy. Some days later, this student, he's sitting at a coffee place and he's giving a lesson to some of the brothers who came for the Umrah. And that brother who gave money to him, he just approached him, put his hand around his neck and started rubbing his head. "How are you doing, brother?" Something like that. And the brother said, "I felt so embarrassed." The student said, "I felt so embarrassed because all these people, they were looking up to me as a ustad. I was giving them a lesson, an Islamic lesson, Sharia knowledge lesson. And some guy just approached me like that and started doing that. But because he took money from the brother, he said, I couldn't say anything against it. So he felt obliged just to take it on the chin and just go on. So the point I'm making is that even if you're a student of knowledge, it's very important to also provide for yourself, especially if you're going to get married. Just allocate some time, even if you don't have a job, even if you're just a student, still allocate some time. During this time, you're going to be brainstorming what you can do to make some money. And the important note is that I'm not saying that you shouldn't take money from anywhere else and just provide for yourself, especially if you're a student. That's not the point. Because I asked this question from the mashayikh. Some of them they said, yes, not some of them. They said that it's not bad to take money if somebody wants to sponsor you while you're studying. And they gave me an example from Imam Malik life and other scholars' life. But you should be very cautious from whom you are taking this money, like in this situation. Is it a good community that's upon the right manhaj, or is it the community that will deviate you from the manhaj of Salaf? And personally, I never ever took any money from anybody. I've been a student for the last 5 years almost, and I've never taken any money. I've been working for all this time, and this is what I recommend on the personal experience and the experience of other students, that you better find the ways to make money yourself. Tawakkul ala Allah awwalan, and then you take the means, rather than taking money from others. But if you are in that situation when you have to, then at least make sure that these people you take money from, then they are the reliable, good people with good akhlaq and right aqidah and right manhaj. You should look into that, of course. So if you implement this routine, inshallah, as you can see again, I count the minutes that I allocated for a certain. First of all, I allocate a certain amount of minutes for every type of activity, and then I follow up on it. Every day I keep track of how many minutes I allocated for this type of activity. I use my phone all the time. I have 2 phones, and if I start memorizing the Quran, I start the watch. If I finish, then I stop it, and then I just make a record of that. So currently my balance for the Quran, and I started from September the 3rd. Every 30 minutes I just reset. Every 30 days I just reset the balance. So to this day I have plus 88 minutes for the Quran. I have plus 533 minutes for the Islamic studies. And now I feel a bit like a hypocrite because I have a huge debt of the beneficial knowledge of the dunya, 270 minutes. And physical training, I just follow it because I enjoy it. Sometimes I don't enjoy it, so I feel like vomiting, but generally I enjoy it. And also the work. Now it's not the application period. I provide the translation services for the people and help them apply to the Islamic universities of Saudi Arabia and other universities in Saudi Arabia. But even now, even though I don't provide these services because the application period is over, I still work on it. I create PDF files to help people seek knowledge in Medina and other places. And I work on the channel providing some valuable information. So I allocate 60 minutes for the work. In total, I allocate 8 hours for all these types of activities. Plus, I have sleep hours, salawat, and adhkar for sabah, and all other things. And my family, maintaining the relationship with the family, all of it. Yes. So if you follow this routine, inshallah, you're going to benefit tremendously. And there's a beautiful thing. I actually have a name for this board. This board is named Toiling Upward in the Night board. There's a good saying. I don't know who wrote it. Probably some poet. It says, the heights by great men reached and kept, weren't attained by sudden flight. But they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. So it's your time to work as hard as possible on all of it to get the most benefit from it. And some of the details I wanted to mention. Of course, the amount of minutes is going to be different in your situation, depending on your circumstances. You might change it. I change it. It's not always 150 minutes for the Quran. If it's the holidays, I increase it. If it's the time of study or work, I not decrease it. And sometimes, some days occur when let's say, just the other day I had a headache. On the 19th of September, I came home and I had a headache for some reason. It doesn't happen to me, but it just happened. I paused. see this P, it means that this day I don't count. I don't count. This day I don't count in my balance, in my routine, because I wasn't feeling well. So in your situation, if something happens, then the emergency happened, you can just pause it for one day, and then you just keep going with your routine. So I paused it for one day, and even though I paused it, I still tried to do my part. I did some Islamic studies part. I did some beneficial knowledge for the dunya part. I did some training. But yeah, you can pause it just in this case. And the last thing I want to mention about this routine are the benefits, two main benefits that I found very, very, very big from this routine. The first one is that I'll just give you an example. When shaitan comes to you, when you're doing something for a long time and you don't see the progress, you've been learning the Arabic language for 6 months and you don't see like you're understanding this language. Shaitan comes to you and he's giving you this waswas. You're not progressing, you're just wasting your time. What happens? Sometimes people give in. But if you have this routine, you might say, no, I've had so much progress. Just last month, I've been memorizing the Quran for 75 hours or 100 something hours, 75 hours. I've been doing Islamic studies within the last month for how long? For 110 hours. I've gained so much beneficial knowledge in the dunya that will help me in my career or build a good relationship with my family or my wife. And I've spent 20 hours for that. I've done 20 workouts, 25 workouts. I've done 30 hours of work that will help others. You immediately push this waswas from the shaitan and just break it in half. So this is the first one, that you can keep clear track of what you achieved, of what where you put your efforts in and time. And that's the first benefit, and it's big. You keep track and you can hold yourself accountable for what you've been doing for a certain period of time. It's a huge benefit. The second benefit that I find in it is consistency. Consistency. As you can see, it's on a daily basis. It's clear, cut clear what I was doing. Consistency is one of the most important things when it comes to anything, in achieving anything. There's a hadith. Once Aisha was in her room and there was a woman with her, and the Prophet ﷺ entered the place and he asked, who is this woman? Aisha radiallahu anha, she answered, Fulana, she's such and such person, تذكر من صلاتها. تذكر من صلاتها. There was so this Fulana, it was Al-Hawla bint Duwayt, if I'm not mistaken, and people were saying that she doesn't sleep the whole night and she just prays the whole night. Qiyamul Layl. And the Prophet ﷺ, he got a little bit angry. He said, Ma alaykum ma tutiqun. What's upon you is what you can keep consistently, what you can keep going with. You see, the consistency is a very important thing. That's how you achieve. And the number two benefit from this routine is that you are consistent with with whatever you are doing, because you keep track of it, and every day you hold yourself accountable. And if you fall short, then you know, oh, tomorrow I must do more. This is the benefit of this routine. Perhaps, I hope that it will help you. This is what I've been using for quite a long time. Wa jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.